So, you want to go to China, huh? Good for you. It's a big, complicated, beautiful mess of a place. Planning a trip to China can seem overwhelming, but with our guide, it's easier than ever. We're going to break down the essentials, from visas and flights to cultural etiquette, and navigating public transportation. Think of this as your survival guide, your cheat sheet, your passport to a world most people only see in headlines. Whether you're a seasoned China hand or a newbie with a passport and a dream, chime in. Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. First hurdle, the visa. It's a necessary evil, a bureaucratic hoop you gotta jump through. Getting a Chinese visa isn't exactly a walk in the park, but it's not climbing Everest either. You'll need to fill out forms, provide documentation, and maybe even pony up for an interview. It varies depending on where you're from and what kind of visa you need. My advice? Don't leave it until the last minute. Start the process early, double-check the requirements, and be meticulous. The Chinese appreciate attention to detail. And remember, the rules of the game can change, so stay updated. Get your visa the right way, pay your dues, and you'll be good to go. It's your ticket to ride, your golden ticket to a world of dumplings, dragons, and discoveries. Let's talk flights. Yeah, that long haul across the Pacific or over the pole or however you choose to get your butt to Beijing. It's a journey, my friends, a test of endurance. First off, forget about luxury. Unless you're dropping serious win on first class, those long-haul flights are all about survival. Pack your essentials, noise-canceling headphones, a good eye mask, a travel pillow that won't give you whiplash. Best advice I can give is to shop around, compare prices, and don't be afraid to fly on a Tuesday if it saves you a few $100. Watch a bad movie, read a book, learn a few Mandarin phrases, just try to get some sleep for God's sake. So, you've battled the visa process, survived the flight, and now you're on the ground in China, bags in tow, ready to crash. The journey might have been long and exhausting, but the adventure is just beginning. But where do you lay your weary head? Finding the right place to stay can make or break your trip. Don't worry, kids, Uncle Tony's got you covered. Whether you're a budget backpacker or a luxury seeker, there's something for everyone. China's got a place for every budget and every kind of traveler. From high-end hotels to cozy guest houses, the options are endless. You want sterile, predictable Western comfort? No problem. There's a Hilton or a Marriott on every other corner in the big cities. They're fine, I guess. Safe, predictable, you know exactly what you're getting. But if you want a real taste of China, you gotta venture off the beaten path, ditch the international chains, and dive into the local scene. It's where the magic happens. Check out the local guest houses, the ones with the faded paint and the questionable plumbing. They might not be perfect, but they have character. You'll meet real people, eat real food, and get a glimpse into the heart and soul of China. These experiences are priceless. Just remember, be respectful, be open-minded, and be prepared for an experience that will stay with you long after you've left the Middle Kingdom. Embrace the journey, and let China surprise you. Okay, you've got your visa, you've landed, you've found a place to sleep, but that's just the beginning of your adventure. Now it's time to talk about getting around this vast, sprawling country. From the bustling metropolises to the serene countryside, every journey is an experience in itself. Because let me tell you, navigating China's transportation system is not for the faint of heart. It's a complex web of options, each with its own quirks and charms. It's a wild ride, a sensory overload, a beautiful, chaotic ballet of humanity on the move. The streets are alive with the hum of activity, and every corner tells a story. First up, the bullet trains. These sleek machines are a marvel of modern engineering. Slicing through the countryside at breakneck speeds, they connect cities in the blink of an eye. It's an experience you won't want to miss. Get yourself a window seat, sit back, and watch the scenery fly by. The landscapes change so quickly it's like watching a live-action movie. Just be prepared for the occasional elbow in the ribs and the constant chatter of your fellow passengers. Then there's the subway, a whole different beast. China's got some of the most extensive and efficient subway systems in the world. It's a lifeline in the big cities, a subterranean maze of humanity hurtling from one destination to another. It's a lifeline in the big cities, a subterranean maze of humanity hurtling from one destination to another. The trains are frequent, and the stations are well marked, but it can still be overwhelming. Just hold on tight, mind the gap, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you get lost. The locals are usually more than willing to assist a confused traveler. Chapter 5. Packing for the Middle Kingdom, Essentials for the Intrepid Traveler. Listen up, rookie, you're not packing for a trip to Disneyland. This is China, a country of contrasts, where ancient temples rub shoulders with futuristic skyscrapers, and where you might find yourself sweating in a humid jungle one day and freezing your ass off in the mountains the next. So pack smart, pack light, and pack for anything. First things first, comfortable shoes. You'll be doing a lot of walking, trust me. Leave the stilettos and the flip-flops at home and opt for sturdy sneakers or hiking boots. Next, layers. China's weather can be unpredictable, so be prepared for anything. Pack a light jacket, a raincoat, a hat, and a scarf. You can always shed layers if it gets too hot, but you'll be glad you have them if the weather turns. Chapter 6. Mind Your Manners, a crash course in Chinese etiquette. Alright, listen up, because this is important. Understanding Chinese etiquette is crucial if you want to make a good impression and avoid any cultural faux pas. China's got its own set of social customs and etiquette, and if you want to avoid any awkward encounters, or worse, you better brush up on your manners. It's not just about knowing what to do, but also understanding why these customs exist. Consider this your crash course in not being an ugly American. Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, these tips will help you navigate social situations with ease. First off, respect is key. This means showing deference to elders and authority figures and being mindful of your actions and words. The Chinese are a proud people with a long and rich history. Their customs and traditions are deeply rooted in their culture, and it's important to honor that. Show them the same respect you'd expect back home. A little courtesy goes a long way in building positive relationships. Learn a few basic Mandarin phrases, hello, thank you, please. It'll go a long way. Even if your pronunciation isn't perfect, the effort will be appreciated. Now let's talk about food. Dining etiquette is a big part of Chinese culture, and knowing the do's and don'ts can make a huge difference. Eating is a big deal in China, and there are certain rules you need to follow. For instance, always use chopsticks properly and never stick them upright in your rice bowl. That's considered bad luck. Always use chopsticks. Never stick them upright in your rice bowl. That's bad luck. And don't be afraid to try everything at least once. Being adventurous with food shows respect for the culture. And when it comes to personal space, forget everything you know. China is densely populated, and what might feel like an invasion of personal space to you is just normal life there. Adapt and go with the flow. Chapter 7. Staying safe and sane. Health and safety tips for China. Let's be real, folks. Traveling to a new country, especially one as different as China, can be daunting. You're out of your comfort zone, facing unfamiliar food, language barriers, and maybe even a little culture shock. But don't let that scare you off. A little preparation goes a long way. First off, get travel insurance. I don't care if you're trekking the Himalayas or just hitting the highlights of Beijing, things happen. Get sick, get injured, get your wallet stolen. It's better to be safe than sorry. Now let's talk about the big one, food poisoning. It can happen anywhere, but it's a real risk in China, especially if you're not used to the local cuisine. Stick to reputable restaurants, be wary of street food, as tempting as it may be, and drink bottled water. So there you have it, your blueprint for conquering China. It's a lot to take in, I know, but trust me, it's worth it. China will challenge you, surprise you, and ultimately change you. Red Note is more than a platform, it's a gateway to a new understanding of China. From its vibrant cities to its ancient wonders, China is waiting for you to explore. This is where your journey begins, where you can connect with fellow travelers, share your experiences, and maybe even inspire someone else to take the plunge.